Dark psychology often describes the human mind as something much more flexible and powerful than people realize. It suggests that the mind is not just a passive thing that reacts to the world, but an active player that shapes reality, like a game controller in your hands. According to this idea, life itself can feel like a game, and the mind is both the player and the rule maker. What makes this powerful is that the mind can change the rules of the game at any time, depending on how a person thinks, feels, and chooses to see situations. When people hear the word game, they often think it means something fake or not serious. But in this context, it means that many situations in life depend on perception. Two people can go through the same event, but their minds can turn it into completely different experiences. One person may see failure, while another sees a lesson. One may feel insulted, while another feels nothing at all. The situation is the same, but the mind changes the meaning. This is where the idea comes from that the mind can change every game according to itself. Dark psychology focuses on how thoughts influence behavior, especially in hidden or unconscious ways. It says that much of what we think is real is actually shaped by internal beliefs. These beliefs act like invisible rules in a game. If someone believes they are weak, their mind creates a game where they always lose. If someone believes they are powerful, their mind creates a game where they find ways to win or survive. The external world does not always change, but the inner interpretation does, and that changes outcomes. One important concept is that the mind is always trying to protect itself. It creates stories to avoid pain and to feel in control. For example, if someone gets rejected, their mind may say, "I didn't really want that anyway." This is not always the truth, but it is a way the mind changes the game so the person does not feel like they lost. In dark psychology, this is seen as both a strength and a weakness. It protects emotions, but it can also create illusions that keep a person from growing. Another idea is that the mind can reframe situations. Reframing means changing the way you see something. If life is a game, then reframing is like changing the camera angle. The same event can look completely different from another angle. For example, losing a job can be seen as disaster or as a new opportunity. The facts are the same, but the mind decides a meaning. People who understand this can use it to stay calm, confident, and focused, even in difficult situations. Dark psychology also points out that people can use this power not only on themselves but on others. If the mind is a game, then influencing someone's thoughts is like influencing how they play. This is where manipulation comes in. By controlling information, emotions, or perspective, one person can change another person's game. For example, if you make someone feel insecure, they may start playing a game where they seek approval. If you make them feel confident, they may act boldly. This shows how powerful the mind is in shaping behavior. A key part of this idea is awareness. Most people are not aware that their mind is shaping their reality. They think things are just happening to them. But dark psychology suggests that once you become aware, you can take control. You can start to question your thoughts instead of blindly believing them. You can ask yourself, is this true, or is my mind creating a story? This simple question can change everything because it breaks the automatic patterns of thinking. The mind also uses patterns from the past to create the present. If someone has experienced pain, their mind may expect pain again. This expectation changes how they act, which can actually create the same outcome again. It becomes a loop. In game terms, it is like being stuck on the same level again and again. But the mind can also break this loop by choosing a different belief. This is not easy, but it is possible with effort and awareness. Another interesting part is how emotions affect the game. Emotions are like signals that guide decisions. Fear can make the game feel dangerous, while confidence can make it feel exciting. The same situation can feel completely different depending on emotional state. Dark psychology teaches that emotions can be influenced and even controlled to some extent. By changing focus, breathing, or thoughts, a person can shift their emotional state and therefore change how they experience the game. Language also plays a big role. The words people use in their mind shape their reality. If someone constantly says, "I can't do this," their mind creates a game where they are limited. If they say, "I will find a way," the mind starts looking for solutions. This shows that even small changes in inner dialogue can have a big impact. The mind listens to itself more than anything else. Another concept is that people often give meaning to things that have no fixed meaning. This means that many rules in life are not absolute. Society, culture, and personal beliefs all create different versions of reality. What is considered success in one place may not matter in another. This again shows that the mind is playing a game with flexible rules. Understanding this can make a person less controlled by external opinions and more focused on their own path. Dark psychology also talks about control and influence. If the mind creates a game, then controlling the mind means controlling the game. This is why habits, routines, and discipline are so important. They shape how the mind operates. A disciplined mind is like a skilled player who understands a game deeply. An undisciplined mind is like a player who reacts without thinking and loses easily. One powerful idea is that attention is the most valuable resource. Whatever the mind focuses on becomes more important. If you focus on problems, the game feels full of obstacles. If you focus on solutions, the game feels full of possibilities. This does not mean ignoring reality, but it means choosing where to put your mental energy. Attention acts like a spotlight, and it determines what grows in your mind. The idea that the mind can change every game does not mean that a person can control everything in life. There are real limits and external factors, but it means that within those limits, there is still a lot of power. The mind can choose how to respond, how to interpret, and how to move forward. This inner control can make a huge difference in outcomes. Another aspect is identity. The way a person sees themselves shapes their actions. If someone sees themselves as a victim, they play a game where things happen to them. If they see themselves as a creator, they play a game where they take action. Identity is like the character you choose in a game. It determines your abilities, your mindset, and your approach. Changing identity can completely change the experience of life. Dark psychology also warns that this power can be used in negative ways. People can create false realities, manipulate others, or escape responsibility by changing their perspective too much. This is why balance is important. Understanding the mind should not lead to ignoring truth, but to understanding it more clearly. In simple words, the mind is like a lens. It does not change the world directly, but it changes how you see the world. And how you see the world changes how you act. And how you act changes your results. This change shows why the mind is so powerful. It sits at the center of everything. To use this idea in a positive way, a person can start by observing their thoughts. Notice what the mind is saying in different situations. Then question those thoughts. Are they helpful or harmful? Are they true or just habits? Then slowly replace negative patterns with more useful ones. This process takes time, but it builds control over the mind. Visualization is another tool. By imagining positive outcomes, the mind starts to believe them as possible. This can increase confidence and motivation. It is like practicing the game in your head before playing it in real life. Many successful people use this technique without even realizing it. Another method is changing environment. The mind is influenced by surroundings, people, and information. By choosing better influences, a person can shape their thinking in a better direction. This shows that while the mind is powerful, it is also influenced by external factors. In the end, the idea that the mind is a game does not mean life is fake or meaningless. It means that there is more flexibility than people think. It means that perspective matters deeply. It means that even in difficult situations, there is still some level of control. The mind can trap a person, but it can also free them. It can create fear, but it can also create courage. It can turn small problems into big ones, or big problems into manageable challenges. This dual nature is what makes it so important to understand. When someone truly understands that their mind is shaping their experience, they stop feeling completely helpless. They start seeing choices where they once saw limits. They start playing the game more consciously instead of just reacting. So dark psychology, in this sense, is not just about manipulation or control over others. It is about understanding the hidden power of the mind. It is about realizing that the game is not fixed and the rules are not always permanent. And most importantly, it is about learning how to play wisely, because whether we realize it or not, we are always playing.